the 5 Love Languages. The Secret to Love That Lasts by Gary Chapman. Chapter-6, Part-1. Love Language 3. Receiving Gifts. Eric spent a year in Kesley's friend zone before she agreed to go out with him. Since they were both big baseball fans, Eric took her to a minor league game in Indianapolis. They were sitting in a grassy area beyond the left field fence when suddenly a hard hit drive came their way. Eric jumped up and made an impressive bare-handed catch. His first home run grab ever. 2 days later, Kelsey found a gift wrapped package outside her dorm room. She opened it and found a baseball in a small plastic display case. Taped to the inside of the case was a ticket stub from the game. Inscribed on the ball was the date of the game and these words: "First home run catch. Second best thing to happen to me that day." They were married 2 years after that first date. 15 years later, that baseball, still in its display case, sits on Kelsey's dresser where she can see it every day. It is the first thing she would grab if the house were on fire. A reminder of love. When I studied anthropology, I was able to visit people groups all over the world. I went to Central America and studied the advanced cultures of the Mayans and the Aztecs. I crossed the Pacific and studied the tribal peoples of Melanesia and Polynesia. I studied the Eskimos of the northern tundra and the aboriginal Ainos of Japan. I examined the cultural patterns surrounding love and marriage and found that in every culture I studied, gift giving was a part of the love marriage process. Anthropologists are intrigued by cultural patterns that tend to pervade cultures, and so was I. Could it be that gift giving is a fundamental expression of love that transcends cultural barriers? One of my anthropology field trips was to the island of Dominica. Our purpose was to study the culture of the Carib Indians, and on the trip I met Fred. Fred was not a Carib, but a young black man of 28 years. Fred had lost a hand in a fishing by dynamite accident. Since the accident, he could not continue his fishing career. He had plenty of available time, and I welcomed his companionship. We spent hours together talking about his culture. Upon my first visit to Fred's house, he said to me, "Mr. Gary, would you like to have some juice?" To which I responded enthusiastically. He turned to his younger brother and said, "Go get Mr. Gary some juice." His brother turned, walked down the dirt path, climbed a coconut tree, and returned with a green coconut. "Open it," Fred commanded. With 3 swift movements of the machete, his brother uncorked the coconut, leaving a triangular hole at the top. Fred handed me the coconut and said, "Juice for you?" It was green, but I drank it, all of it, because I knew it was a gift of love. I was his friend, and to friends you give juice. At the end of our weeks together, As I prepared to leave that small island, Fred gave me a final token of his love. It was a crooked stick, 14 inches in length, that he had taken from the ocean. It was silky, smooth from pounding upon the rocks. Fred said that the stick had lived on the shores of Dominica for a long time, and he wanted me to have it as a reminder of the beautiful island. Even today, when I took at that stick, I can almost hear the sound of the Caribbean's waves, but it is not as much as a reminder of Dominica as it is a reminder of love. A gift is something you can hold in your hand and say, "Look, he was thinking of me," or "She remembered me." You must be thinking of someone to give him a gift. The gift itself is a symbol of that thought. It doesn't matter whether it costs money. What is important is that you thought of him. And it is not the thought implanted only in the mind that counts, but the thought expressed in actually securing the gift and giving it as the expression of love. Mothers remember the days of the children bring a flower from the yard as a gift. They feel loved, even if it was a dandelion or a flower they didn't want picked. From early years, children are inclined to give gifts to their parents, which may be another indication that gift giving is fundamental to love. Gifts are visual symbols of love. Most wedding ceremonies include the giving and receiving of rings. The person performing the ceremony says, "These rings are outward and visible signs of an inward and spiritual bond that unites your two hearts in love that has no end." That is not meaningless rhetoric. It is verbalizing a significant truth. Symbols have emotional value. Perhaps that is even more graphically displayed near the end of the disintegrating marriage, when the husband or wife stops wearing the wedding ring. One husband said, "When she threw her wedding rings at me and angrily walked out of the house, slamming the door behind her, I knew our marriage was in serious trouble. I didn't pick up her rings for 2 days. When I finally did, I couldn't stop crying." The lonely rings stirred deep emotions within the husband. Visual symbols of love are more important to some people than to others. That's why individuals have different attitudes toward wedding rings. Some never take the ring off after the wedding. Others don't even wear a wedding band. If receiving gifts is my primary love language, I will place great value on the ring you have given me, and I will wear it with pride. I will also be moved emotionally by other gifts that you give through the years. I will see them as expressions of love. Without gifts as visual symbols, I may question your love. Gifts come in all sizes, colors, and shapes. Some are expensive and the others are free. To the individual whose primary love language is receiving gifts, the cost of the gift will matter little, unless it is out of line with what you can afford. If a millionaire gives you only $1 gifts regularly, the spouse may question whether that is an expression of love. But when family finances are limited, a $1 gift may speak $1,000,000 worth of love. Gifts may be purchased, found, or made. The husband who finds an interesting bird feather while out jogging and bringing it home to his wife was found himself an expression of love unless, of course, his wife is allergic to feathers. For the man who can afford it, you can purchase a beautiful card for less than $5. For the man who cannot, you can make one for free. Get the paper out of the trash, can where you work, fold it in the middle, take scissors and cut out a heart. Write, I love you, and sign your name. Gifts need not to be expensive. But what of the person who says, I am not a gift giver. I didn't receive many gifts growing up. I never learned how to select gifts. It doesn't come naturally for me. Congratulations, you have just made the first discovery in becoming a great lover. You and your spouse speak different love languages. Now that you have made the discovery, get on with the business of learning your second language. If your spouse's primary love language is receiving gifts, you can become a proficient gift giver. In fact, it is one of the easiest love languages to learn. Where do you begin? Make a list of all the gifts your spouse has expressed excitement about receiving through the years. They may be gifts you have given or gifts given by other family members or friends. The list will give you an idea of the kind of gifts your spouse would enjoy receiving. If you have little or no knowledge about selecting the kinds of gifts on your list, recruit the help of family members who know your spouse. In the meantime, select gifts that you feel comfortable purchasing, making, or finding and give them to your spouse. Don't wait for a special occasion. If receiving gifts is his or her primary love language, almost anything you give will be received as an expression of love. If she has been critical of your gifts in the past and almost nothing you have given has been acceptable, then receiving gifts is almost certainly not her primary love language. The best investment. If you are to become an effective gift giver, you may have to change your attitude about money. Each of us has an individualized perception of the purposes of money, and we have various emotions associated with spending it. Some of us have a spending orientation. We feel good about ourselves when we are spending money. Others have a saving and investing perspective. We feel good about ourselves when we are saving money and investing it wisely. If you are a spender, you will have little difficulty purchasing gifts for your spouse, but if you are a saver, you will experience emotional resistance to the idea of spending money as an expression of love. You don't purchase things for yourself. Why should you purchase things for your spouse? But that attitude fails to recognize that you are purchasing things for yourself. By saving and investing money, you are purchasing self-worth and emotional security. You are caring for your own emotional needs in the way you handle money. What you are not doing is meeting the emotional needs of your spouse. If you discover that your spouse's primary love language is receiving gifts, then perhaps you will understand that purchasing gifts for him or her is the best investment you can make. You are investing in your relationship and filling your spouse's emotional love tank. And with a full love tank, he or she will likely reciprocate emotional love to you in a language you will understand. When both persons' emotional needs are met, your marriage will take on a whole new dimension. Don't worry about your savings. You will always be a saver. But to invest in loving your spouse is to invest in blue chip stocks.